when the skies were dark and the heavens unguarded, when the moon lay still in the broken earth, when mortals languished beneath an infernal lash, then did Ioth, scion of Luminius, the first Magus, gather to his feet the people of the Four Kingdoms, to learn what little remained of the lost secrets of dawn magic. In the twilight of his years, as he commenced his greatest work, his long-lasting legacy, there came to his school a class that contained 4 exceptional students, a child of refugees with a terrible secret, a scion of the Alfar who heard strange voices, a child of prophecy who turned to shadow, and a daughter of the hillfolk raised by the Alfar. Though they didn't recognize it yet, in their hands would rest the destiny of Ioth Academy and of its greatest treasure, the Book of Dawn. Welcome everyone to Book of Dawn Ioth Academy. I'm tormented by gnomes, and it is my joy and my privilege to be your dungeon master on this adventure. I have a fantastic cast I'm really excited about. I'll go ahead and start introducing them with welcome back to the show, Crowan.
Hello, I love that intro, by the way, and totally doesn't, no pressure is from that. So everything's gonna go great.
It'll be fine.
Loving it, yeah. But hello, my name is Crowan. I cast mainly TFT, but some other games as well, like some HOTS, ERBS, and maybe some new ones soon. We'll see. But yeah, I'm just, happy to be here. Loved the intro sessions, and let's see how it goes.
Fantastic. Good to have you back. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Leg Day.
Hi guys, I'm Leg Day, shoutcaster for Overwatch and Valorant, and I'll be playing Athalor, young Hogwarts-esque Dawn Elf who's quite naive. If you hear any stupid voices that are not entirely consistent throughout the show, that'll be me. And right now, knowing that the Book of Dawn is the main treasure of Ioth Academy, I'm wondering what quality of bookmark is put in there by Ioth. Like, do we have the mystical golden book? I mean, it's got like a world bookcase or like paper shoved in there. Just like, yeah, that'll do.
Actually, if you look at our logo, it appears to be some sort of a red cloth. So if you've seen those alignment charts that show like what's like chaotic evil is the person who splits the book and just puts it down, neutral evil folds it over. I think we're somewhere in lawful good bookmark territory, to answer your question.
that is some lawful good bookmarking right there. Kudos to the artist.
Next up, we have the Citrus Supreme, Lemon Kiwi. Welcome to the show.
Oh, that was like my WWE entrance right there. I felt like I had to start sprinting, but with
your
not
theme
a lot of
music
strength
playing.
on my character, it's not going to be it. But that's why we're in school. We're here to learn and hopefully not die episode 1. But yeah, hi everybody. I'm Lemon or Jen or Citrus Supreme apparently. I'm Leg Day's co-caster in Overwatch Contenders and Anacra as well, of course, with Trid. And yeah, we have a good time. I also cast TFT, Warzone, a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, good time.
Magnificent. Good to have you back. And last but not least, among many other titles, she is 100% a Pokemon master. Please welcome Anacra.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since I've gotten a chance to see everyone since that first prologue that happened 4 weeks ago. But I'm so excited to be back, and I'm so excited to be playing with all of these amazing people here. For those that don't know me, I am a commentator and a desk host. For commentary, I cover Fortnite, Overwatch, and Pokemon. And for desk hosting, I work with Crowan on TFT. So I'm super excited about getting a chance to get back into the action tonight and let's steal this book.
Yeah. It's important to have goals in life. I like that. That's good.
Goal-oriented.
Very goal-oriented. That is Arianna.
Excellent. So for folks who are new to the show in general, our adventure is called Book of Dawn Ioth Academy. It's set in a fantastic school of magic that you'll all be getting familiar with in sort of the early days of the world of Anacra. Anacra, the world of the Four Kingdoms, 4 planes of existence all nestled closely around each other, right now is under the cruel dominion of the demonic Imperium. The Infernals, the cruel gods, have vast empires that control massive swaths of the land. They hunt across the wilderness, tracking down anybody not already under their sway and doing awful things to them. Throughout this place of darkness, there are the isolated pockets of beauty, civilization, and resistance. Some of these are the hidden refuges of the Alfar, the Dawn Elves. In the west, we have the mighty kingdom of Brontha, land of the priest kings dedicated to Zalar. Through their faith and their fury, they've managed to resist. Off to the east, we have the 10 dragon tribes of Okarthel, ruled by, well, dragons, and imbued with their magic, the blood of dragons flows through their veins, and they've been able to fight off as well. Sort of nestled between these two groups is Ioth Academy itself. A vast golden sphere filled with floating wonders, towers, spires, castles, forests, lakes, parks, all sorts of fantastic trains suspended in this massive golden dome, probably at least a mile wide, if not more so. And at its feet, spreading out in all directions, are settlements built up over the years, over the centuries that the Infernals have ruled over the land. Refugees have gathered at the foot of Ioth Academy, seeking the protection of the wizards who dwell there and their powerful magic. And while the wizards of Ioth Academy do help the refugee camp somewhat, they go out, they use their magic to clean, to repair, to provide food and water and such. The need and the demand has grown over the years, and they haven't really opened, the academy itself has remained sealed from the inside. So imagine this incredibly beautiful, gleaming object filled with wonder and magic, and then sprawling out from it are all the people who are just trying to survive in this world. Our first 4 episodes, we met each player in turn. They each had their own origin story. They came from somewhere in this land. Various circumstances have led them here to, at a very young age, around 10 or so, to join the ranks of Ioth Academy. Each of them has their own story of how they got here. Each of them has their own secrets. And we're going to go ahead and meet them and gather our class together in just a moment. Before we launch into this, does anyone in my party have any questions for the Dungeon Master?
I'm just glad I looked 10 already. It makes it sound really easy for the height,
I did a full shave today, so I'm right there with you. I look like an albino baby.
That's
True.
very accurate.
We're all out here playing D&D and leg days LARPing. All right. Inside this golden sphere, the light that emanates from near the top almost at times eclipses that of the sun itself. And even at night, the light only fades and dims, but never truly goes out. The heat of the desert, the driving winds, none of that reaches through the sphere. And today, both the sun and the golden radiance of Ioth's Academy are shining. The air is sweet and gentle. It smells like honey-crisp apples, just this faint, crisp sweetness that hangs about, this freshness that blows away any of the smells that might be wafting up from anywhere. The temperature is almost perfect. And gathered in an open-air amphitheater on a chunk of earth, hundreds of feet wide, this big stone amphitheater, it descends down the sides in ranks and ranks of stone benches. There's a platform in the middle, a series of columns, and a balcony overlooking it. But all of this is under the open sky. And somehow, even though this golden surface surrounds all of you, the light is still clear and blue as of the brightest day that you've ever seen, without that glare that comes with the desert sun that just drives you, blinds you, and scorches you and ruins your day. Gathered into this open amphitheater are hundreds, perhaps thousands. They are arrayed from the very lowest on the bottom floor to the highest echelons in the top. And if you look from the bottom to the top, the color of their robes form every single shade of the rainbow. Red at the bottom, and then rising to oranges, yellows. And as you go up and you have all these different people gathered in these different robes, they start to get taller and older. The youngest are near the bottom wearing the red robes, which is important because it makes them easy to see when they run off and do stuff that they're not supposed to. And as students grow older, they graduate to deeper shades of the spectrum. Around the ring at the very top are a series of stone statues, untouched by the ravages of time, each of them depicting some great hero or magus, perhaps from this academy's own storied history, perhaps from the before times, from the era of the dawn and the time of heroes. In the middle of the amphitheater, at the far end, are gathered the faculty, the teachers, the higher maguses of Ioth Academy. There is energy in the air. There is excitement. There is noise. There is one adult for every 20 children or so. So take that as you will with this throng of thousands, what level of chaos we're talking about right now. Because this is the opening ceremony for the beginning of the school year. Standing down on the very lowest floor with all the other new students, this new incoming class, all these rookies, gathered in pretty close to the front row, though not quite in the front row, are a gaggle of 6 or 7 students. Just behind them, wearing an orange robe, is a dark-haired Alphar child who's incredibly distracted but trying very hard not to look like it. His name is Alyxander. One of you may have already met him. He's in his orange garb, so he's already a little bit older than you folks. There is Sorry, the cats are destroying something in the background.
Extras cats on the loose as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then in this a bunch of strangers all gathered together, having never met each other before, young kids, 10 years old or so, give or take. The camera zooms in on our heroes for the first time. Why don't we learn a little bit about you? Now, each of you is wearing a red robe with some golden filigree around the openings on either side of the robe. It has been somewhat tailored to you and provided to you by the school itself. Beyond that, what you're wearing and how you appear is up to you. So, Crowan, what does your character look like? And how is he handling this huge gathering?
Well, not very well, but let's see. So, character is Alyxander, very, very scrawny boy, kind of slightly tan skin, very unkempt, dark brown hair that goes a bit down below the shoulders, maybe like average height for his age, maybe like a little smaller, wearing these red robes, and probably has some visible burn marks from maybe something that happened. Maybe you'd see them around, like, I mean, robes are covering most of his body, maybe like some of his hands, or maybe even like up to his like neck or something. But they're like mostly healed at this point. He's looking very, very nervous, kind of like any loud noise that happened, he kind of is like a little bit jittery at, is just kind of trying to take in the surroundings, but it's very overwhelming, and it's very obvious that's like overwhelming to him at this point. Trying to probably standing in a group, but like to the side and like off to the side as much as he can, basically, within this group of people.
So you're gathered in this amphitheater almost like stadium seats. So you're going to have kids to the left of you, kids to the right of you, nowhere really to go.
Yeah.
Bundled
Just,
up with the whole
towards
gang.
the edge as much as possible, but like if it doesn't happen, then sure, so be it. But
All right.
I'm
Now,
just looking real nervous.
is there anything unusual about the robes that you're wearing? You've managed to get yourself a hold of some of the actual real robes that are appropriate for this ceremony. How do they fit, and what condition are they in?
Yeah, so they would not be in very great condition. Definitely tattered. Like some of the golden filigree is probably like maybe some of like ripped. It's falling off. It's not looking fantastic.
All right. And then sitting on which side of him, leg day, of this young boy? The left or the right side?
Probably to the left.
All right. What do we see? Who do we see, and how is he handling himself?
quite a svelte and elegant figure, somewhat taller compared to the compatriots in the younger class, stands Athalor, whose gaze is basically almost 45 degrees skyward. He seems to be ignoring the elder staff who present themselves and is instead intently surveying the collection of statues that throng the top of the ring. And one of the things that's quite peculiar about him is that he has like a rather large book under his arm that you would not expect a child to be able to carry easily, but it seems like it's almost incorporeal in its weight, though you'd see that it's mostly from familiarity rather than any real sort of strength, as he does appear rather sinewy as far as frames go.
All right. And did we get a description of just like his hair, his appearance, and so forth?
He has a quite similar style, well, quite similar color hair to me, but it's pulled back in a fairly tight ponytail with a couple of errant strands, sort of framing his face.
Mm-hmm. And he's not really paying attention to the proceedings, though the proceedings haven't fully begun. His eyes are all the way around the ring on these big statues, right?
Yeah, these are the depictions of the heroes of Dawn, or at least those that are depictions of the heroes of Dawn are the ones that he particularly focuses in on.
All right. And is he talking to anybody, or has he just been like just lost in the sauce?
He's deep in the sauce. This man's part spaghetti right now.
All right. So we have a human and an alphar. And then are you sitting, Lemon, on... Okay, I should have put icons down for this, but I didn't. Are you sitting on Alex's right or on Athalor's left?
I'll be probably on Athalor's left.
Okay. Tell us who we see. What does she look like?
So I would say probably on the slimmer side of things. Probably has like a tinge of like mostly pale skin, but like a tinge of purple with purple eyes. I think long blonde hair, but kind of the strands kept behind her head with like a brooch. I forgot the even symbol of it. And there's like, you could tell in the eyes, there's like a level of exhaustion, whether it's not like heavy bags, but just like the way the eyes are kind of relaxed. There's a level of exhaustion there. And she's very straight posture, legs even crossed, trying to look relaxed, but is looking at the elders or what we should be paying attention to and not really looking around, just paying very close attention to what's going on.
All right. The introvert gang. And then is Arianna sitting on Garnet's left or Alexander's right?
I'm on Alexander's right.
I knew it.
Yep.
No, I wanted to sit this up. I was just following the line.
She's just eye fucking with Professor, just like, oh.
All right.
I sit next to that.
So,
it's me.
Who is she? What does she look like?
So, for those of you that haven't gotten a chance to meet Arianna yet, Arianna is a slender hillfolk girl who was raised by the Alphar. She has very long blonde hair. She wears this beautiful bracelet that her mothers gave her as a parting gift from when she did leave to go to Ioth Academy. And she's twirling that right now. She's a little nervous that there's so many people here. But she's kind of used to it in a way because she's already had that awestruck moment walking into the Alphar region when she did wander there from being in the woods. So she's a little more comfortable. She can tell that the boy next to her is not necessarily as comfortable or in as comfortable a position. And I feel like it would be in Arianna's wheelhouse to actually turn to Alexander and go, like, hi, I'm Arianna. How are you?
Sorry, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. I can tell you're a little nervous. Me too. It's a lot happening here right now.
Just like Alex takes a moment to just like wide-eyed, just like look around the whole scene and just nod back.
I didn't know where else to go from there. That was all I was gonna do.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Arianna introduces herself. The young boy kind of like nods and agrees and just seems sort of a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit overstimmed by everything going on around. Arianna
was going to join in the conversation, but his gaze unerringly also doesn't move from eye fucking with statues. I'm Athalor, by the way. That's all.
I just look over at him, like, don't remember asking kind of look, and just keep staring because I did not hear this other conversation. So I'm like,
Alex tries just like sink back into his seat, like probably just like assumes that they're talking to Arianna, just like, I'll let you guys talk.
Yeah, Arianna kind of looks in that direction, realizes I can't tell if that was for me or not because he's not looking at us.
Shrugs.
just shrugs, walks away.
All right.
Just kind of like second-degree social contact.
interact.
As soon as Athalor says that, Alyxander, the dark-haired Alpha boy in orange robes behind you, says, "And I'm Alyxander, and I've already done
Alyxander?
this." Yes, hi, Arianna.
Oh, it's so good to see you again. I, for some reason, forgot you were gonna be here.
I've already done this last year. It's very boring. Nothing exciting is going to happen.
So are we sitting in the vowels section? We're all A's. Arianna, Alyxander, Athalor.
She didn't say her name. Alyxander points at the back of Garnet's head,
I like look behind me, like
right into his pointing
like,
finger.
feeling
Yeah.
like out of place, like on the spot. Garnet. I'm a G. Am I in the wrong spot?
It must not be alphabetical.
I don't remember it spelt that way, but I just was told to sit here, so here I am.
How would you not remember how to spell your own name? That's ridiculous.
Is this your first education, Garnet?
First, well, I've been self-taught. Don't even know why I'm here, but sounds like this isn't exciting. So let's just get this over with, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the squeaky
very
toy.
boring.
I'm so sorry.
Is that the sound of your brain cell working?
My dog is very excited. I'm gonna mute myself for a little bit while he plays.
So, sitting on Arianna's right is a sort of a round-faced young boy who's sitting there, shoulders a little bit slumped, just kind of looking forward, glancing over to the side, vaguely blowing air between his lips, and it comes out as this odd, intermittent squeaking noise that just wafts across the room every so often.
Wait for it. Intermittent squeaking noise.
It's not gonna happen. Now that we've called it, it's not gonna happen.
You've cued it.
It's not gonna
Exactly.
happen now.
But if it does happen, it's organic and it's part of the story.
Oh, okay.
Behold, an
By
act of God.
immersion. It's now dead.
And then on your left, Garnet, is a tall girl with excellent posture, standing straight. Her hair's tied up in a braid. She has turquoise eyes, which is, it's very distinctive. It's that light blue. There's even some flecks in it as well. She almost has the same kind of focused discipline that you're showing, Garnet, without the slight slump and disappointment and resignation to it.
I'm like looking over at her. Is she like making eye contact back?
Yeah, she looks over for a brief moment. At that the kid on the far right, he makes that squeaking noise. And as you look over, the girl with the turquoise eyes crosses her eyes and makes like a duck noise, like a duck in time with the squeaking.
I am very confused, and I'm just go back to staring at it. I'm not even gonna bother. Just,
All right. So you've got a know-it-all behind you, a leaking balloon on your right, and a very strange person on the left of your little group. As more folk settle in, it seems like the ceremony is going to get started fairly soon. Did anybody have anything they wanted to say or do before proceedings? All right.
Did you guys all meet the Minotaur as well?
Oh. Yeah, come to think of it. He came to... You're talking to me, right? I guess you're talking to us. Yeah, he came to my
it isn't
village.
the birds on either side of us.
Yeah, he came to my village and he was talking a lot about magic and even brought a little bit of trouble along, I felt like.
You can see him, by the way, as you're discussing this. He's standing down on the large stage, if you will, with the rings dangling from his horns and his big war staff, and he's wearing white garments with gold filigree on the side, which is what all the teachers seem to be wearing as their formal garb. He's standing down there, kind of shifting his head, looking out at the entrances, keeping an eye on things.
If he has good hearing, this sentence was said by Arianna.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't seem to respond. He's a good couple 100 feet away from you.
I think we're all right.
He brought trouble, did you say?
It was so odd. I was actually working on a special project and he found it. He found me. And after an accident a couple of years ago, I was basically using that project to try to rectify things with the person that I had trouble with. He
Revenge
came,
magic?
I don't know. It was so strange. He basically, well, I guess I'll tell you guys. I set a garden on fire. And the fire lasted for roughly 3 years until the Minotaur came and helped me to put it out. I guess not trouble, but a solution?
You know, I've read so many stories in this book, but never have I heard about a Minotaur doing municipal help. What would you call it? He came along and he fought the fire?
Yeah.
Like did he attack it with a hammer?
No, he helped me find the source of the fire and helped me put it out.
Oh.
And
He
I
just
guess
played
he's
parlor games with me.
Oh. He seems high up at the academy here.
I think he is. I've heard good things, so that tracks him helping, that is.
Alozrin speaks loudly. That is Inril Untermaler.
Inril.
He's in charge of
Oh.
security.
Does anybody know if he can see in the dark?
Minotaurs can absolutely see in the dark. And if he finds anyone who doesn't belong here, it's his job to kick them out.
Alex kind of like sinks in his chair a little bit.
He also teaches tactics of battle and warfare class, but it's incredibly boring. I wouldn't be caught dead in that.
Once again, these sentences were said by Arianna, in case he has really good hearing.
The girl on the far left side, sitting next to Garnet, snorts.
Oh, that's not a bird sound.
The leaky balloon guy on the right goes, shh.
I kind of like maybe lean over to Athalor and I'm like, it's not wise to rat people out on day one. You're not going to make any friends doing that.
Oh, I don't think he can actually hear us. I'm just trying to remember her name.
Oh, still good advice, whether they can hear or not.
Arianna's doesn't have a care in the world at this point. She's not worried about Enril or getting in trouble about sharing the story about how she and Enril and Alosarin kind of met. So
All
I
right.
like pick a bug or some like dust out of Athalor's hair, just like noticing he sometimes has his hair out of whack, just like a little piece of dust. And I'm like, so you read? Well, what have you been reading recently? Just fixing the hair.
Athalor looks at the hair thing first. Like, are you going to eat that?
I just like throw it, kind of flick the dust or whatever I picked up. It's just you probably didn't even notice. I'm probably just super perfectionist about hair, so I'm just like, no.
No, I read quite a lot actually. I spent most of my childhood outside my father's domain. Let's say domain, and just reading a lot about these guys. And Athalor points upwards towards the assorted statues of the Dawn heroes.
Anybody who started the campaign with proficiency in history may make a check.
Yeah, it's my
Does that
time,
include
baby.
me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, come on. What are these rolls?
no.
Lemon Q with a 10.
Oh, I'm finding my character sheet. Second.
First roll, this always happens.
We've had inspirations redeemed, right, chat?
Yes, actually, there is a number of inspiration on the table right now.
Inspiration.
So, who has inspiration right now? Like they Garnet. Yeah, you have inspiration if you want to spend it on that. And who's the first person to introduce themselves to someone was Necra. So, Necra, you have inspiration as well.
Nice.
Actually,
Cool.
you have 2 inspiration. Everybody else has 1.
Okay, I rolled the same
Except-
thing twice. Nothing's done.
Wow. Okay. We're off to a hot start here.
Already refreshing. In case I hate my
At 5, clear the cache. All right. Garnet, from your studies, none of these people are people who would have been lionized in your homeland. Your homeland had its own saints and martyrs who would have received much, much more attention. But you're well read enough to recognize most of these statues as heroes of the Dawn Age. And because of the nature of the world of the Dawn, nobody actually knows what those people looked like. Because during the time of the Dawn, people could change their forms at will. So there are sort of these mythological symbols that have come to be associated with these different characters rather than solid depictions. So this is Alfar stuff, right? The Dawn Elves, they very much like these old stories. It has a lot to do with them before the Titans and before Zalar and the Demonic Imperium and all that stuff. This is a lot more about their history. And probably some of these people are famous graduates of the school who went on to do great things. But none of their names are really jumping off the page at you. Now, Athalor, you recognize several of them. You recognize Barash, the warrior, and Lotne, the lore mistress. You actually see the Dok Elfar sage up there as well. And a number of great spellcasters who have graduated from the academy who Ioth came here with a number of his companions to raise this great sphere. Some of them have passed on. They're memorialized here, as well as the sage.
I'm hoping that by the end of today, I might raise a number of acquaintances I have among them to 2.
Huh. Well, with how smart you are, you can consider me a friend already. We got to get study groups going. We need test help. You sound like you read books, and sounds like you'd be a friend of mine if you read.
Do you know how to read?
I'm like blinking at him, like he just spoke another language. Never mind then. And I just sit back up in my chair and look forward.
I'd like to be friends.
As your conversation continues, the sound of flutes and trumpets magically amplified So they're not just down there absolutely hammering on the musical instruments. The music is being carried to you as if being played at an agreeable volume, like a couple of seats over. A melody begins to pass through the chamber, signaling to everyone that the opening ceremonies are about to begin. The adults that have been placed every 20 children or so, and you can see the adult per child density down here with the folks in red cloaks is a lot higher, and as it goes up and the kids get older, that number goes down until like the teenage years, and then it cranks right back up again. But beyond that, so they are wearing black robes to signify, hey, I'm an adult, listen to me. So they start hushing people around them, making sure that everybody's paying attention and such. The hushers haven't reached your group yet, but they are on their way. And a moment later, Inril Untermaler, the Minotaur, steps forward along with several of the other teachers as they all gather together. There's a series of announcements and boring speeches, but perhaps the highlight of all of it is when Inril speaks in his voice, which I totally have right at my fingertips right here.
Hail, students, returning and new. Back here at Ioth Academy, I urge you, as the world outside grows darker, to leave your strife, your conflicts, and the wars of your homelands outside where they belong. This is a place of peaceful study. Join together with those who would be your enemies in the outside world, and magic, this school and your lives will all be enriched for it.
Alozrin goes, "Ugh," behind you.
Tired of war or tired of speeches?
Yes. Actually, a war sounds terribly exciting.
I like quickly glance back when he says that. Just like shake my head and look forward again.
Shushers, please.
What was that like, Dave?
Proximity check on the shushers, please.
Roll a perception check. Just check for shushers.
Oh shit, where's it? Let's check for shushers. Oh, where's perception? Bloody hell. Oh, I've got 0 perception.
And you rolled an 8. You're sort of scanning left and right for shushers. They're moving down the road towards you, but the squeaky kid on the right side is kind of doing their job for them. It's gonna be Ioth next. Hush.
Maybe you should start with him.
What? A war on him?
Keep your goals manageable.
Manageable. I want an exciting war. Look at the kid.
Athalor simply shrugs him and looks back to the pedestals.
The squeaker is now just looking sort of indignantly, not like how dare you, but what would you? And on the balcony, above the amphitheater, where all the teachers are gathered, there's a sudden glow of radiant golden light.
Wow.
And a figure takes shape, covered in golden tattoos that flow and shimmer with a living light. Tall. There's an age to him. It's not writ upon his face or in lines. It's something in the way that the air hangs around him. It's something in the way, not the weight that crushes him down, but the sheer rigidity with which he stands that shows that the years have stacked themselves upon his shoulders over the millennia. And though he still stands upright, their weight fills the room. However, when Ioth appears, his hair is grown long and pale with the years. An Alfar with this golden radiance hanging around him. It appears that he's in the middle of something when he appears upon the balcony. He's not facing you. He's turned to the side and he's parsing through something that's completely invisible. You can't even see it. You just see him standing there, turning the pages on something. He looks over to his side, consults another invisible text, looks up over, muttering to himself, and his mutterings echo magically amplified throughout the entire amphitheater. There's a moment of awkward silence, filled only with the as he goes through himself. The girl sitting on Garnet's left coughs.
Just like look over, like, is she okay?
She gestures up at him, mouthing, "Hello, down here."
Oh, I thought that was Shush Boy.
Shush Boy immediately shushes you upon saying that, Athalor.
Oh,
He-
one-trick ponies.
He is staring, like, almost about to jump out of his seat, just gawking at the headmaster, who still apparently hasn't noticed that he's on and that his mic is hot. After a moment, one of the teachers mutters something in a spell, and Ioth turns, he looks out, he seems to notice everyone for the first time and says, "Oh, right, this. Yes." Greetings and welcome to our Garden of Delightful Magic, wherein we inscribe the lessons of history and look forward to a brighter future and for the greater good of magic, and may you live long and study well. Thank you. And he goes back to what he was doing a moment ago. And then he vanishes. I think we're all in the business, so we're all familiar with the energy in a room when somebody just bombs and did not notice that they bombed.
Another one.
Oh, no. I hurt.
No idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna probably snicker, like, but like laugh under my breath and just.
Athalor pointedly leans forward, looks over to Shush Boy. Going to ask for an encore then?
That's the greatest wizard ever. That's the first wizard ever. Put some respect on him. He's probably very busy.
I see he didn't learn speech writing magic.
I'm sure he's very good at it. He just couldn't because he was too busy.
Oh.
And speech writing magic isn't a kind of magic.
Athalor shakes his head and just like,
Alozrin says, again a little bit loud, actually, there is a kind of magic you can use for speech writing. You just have to invoke the right spirits.
Thank you. Not that you'd know anything about the spirits of the eloquent. Shh.
He turns away from you, just kind of sits, looking down and to the right and away.
I laugh at. I already forget people's names.
All
Athalor,
good.
and I give him like an okay emoji, like kind of on my lap, like nice job.
Athalor just kind of smirks back.
All right. With that abrupt ending to the opening ceremonies, the shushers start gathering everyone to their feet. And there are a series of announcements that go out, dividing each of the 7 tiers of students and shuffling them out one at a time in an orderly fashion to report to their quarters for the year. Now, being that you're in the red robes, you're just kind of moving out onto the amphitheater floor as the teachers disperse in a, well, okay, that happened, that was awkward sort of manner. Some of them are gathering near you, and one of them seems to be all the black-robed shushers are sort of getting their 20, okay, counting them all up, going over them. I would like each of you to roll an intelligence check, please. Just an intelligence check.
See if I actually roll correctly.
3.
Come on.
All right. Cohen got a 3, Legday got a 21, Arianna got an 18, And Lemon Kiwi got a 7. So, Arianna and Athalor, you've both noticed that each shusher is assigned to 20 students, 20 of the red-robed students. There are 21 in your group.
Is Orange Robe still with us?
Nope, he's being shuffled away. I'm sure I'll see you later down. Unless I don't, red robes don't get to do very many exciting things, and I'm going to be doing exciting things. But if we do see each other, I'll be sure to tell you everything that... And he's being, like, shuffled away. But yeah, there are 21 kids in your group.
How separate is this group from the other groups?
It's basically 20 kids, shusher, 20 kids, shusher, in this massive, it's like a stadium with no stadium walls.
Athalor once again looks over to the shush kid.
Got to.
You know, I think one of the staff over there is having issues. You know, I bet they would let you meet Ioth if you were helpful on your first day.
Roll a deception check with advantage, please, Athalor.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
An 11.
I've got my inspiration still. Does that let me reroll?
So, no, once you have advantage, inspiration, it just gives you advantage, so it's not going to apply here.
Well, don't we have
Okay.
lucky dice leg day? Or I thought you had lucky. Who had that?
Who all here?
I think my lucky dice were used on stat generation.
Oh no, that stuff regenerates, my friend. If the laughing god came up as an active god during your game, then you got the lucky feature, and at least 2 people got it. I know Garnet got it.
Yeah, I had the lucky dice during my stat generation from Laughing God.
Okay, then you just have lucky dice, period. You get 3 of them every day, so you have 3 of those. You could spend one of those to roll 1 more additional time and take the better.
Do I still get advantage on it?
Basically, it's super advantage. So you're going to roll 1 more time and then take the best of the 3 total rolls. So you're going to give me a flat roll, a normal roll, no advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into super advantage. Okay, so either an 11, a 6, or an 18, you get to take the 18.
Let's go for the 18 then on old Shushy boy.
All right. He sort of lights up, looks at you suspiciously, looks over at the shusher who apparently has an issue, looks at you suspiciously, but can't help himself. And he heads over there to see if he can make himself useful, to see if he can help. Alexander, a wave of relief washes over you as the only person who knows why the count is off.
Yep.
You
Just
are
doesn't say anything, just like deep breaths a little bit. But
just
he's
take
chilling.
it. Just take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think my math is accurate.
So the 20 of you are shuffled, and every single group is now arrayed in neat rows at the front of the amphitheater. And standing on the stage in front of all of you is a dragonborn woman. She has scales of green, somewhat tempered and somewhat tarnished, but overall scales of this brilliant emerald green. She has a crest, sort of a fin that runs up along her head. She's wearing golden spectacles, and she is wearing the white garb of a teacher with the gold, but also a band of scarlet around the edge as well. And the shushers are reporting into her as they count up, okay, yep, all's present, all's present, all's present. And she's reading off their names as you go through until everybody gathers together. Feel free to interrupt me if any of you are up to anything or doing anything in the lineup process, but otherwise, So when I'm moving along with things, it doesn't mean you can't say stuff. It just means that's what's happening beyond you. So feel free to interrupt. Once everybody is gathered, she spends a long moment staring out over the group of you with draconic eyes. And again, the Dragonborn are basically humanoid anthropomorphic dragons. They have scales, they have reptilian features. And so she's standing up there. She doesn't appear to have a staff of any kind, just in her robes, looking out along the lot of you, almost as if she can taste the air. She taps her throat twice and makes an arcane gesture. And when she speaks, again, it's as if she's standing just next to you, as her voice is magically amplified. You are new here to the Academy. All of you young. I am Sanip Kur, Master of First Years. I will be assigning you to your homes and instructing you in the basics of magic. The one thing that cannot be tolerated in Ioth Academy is ignorance. And ignorance can be fixed. You have many years to study and learn ahead of you. And you are all small young mammals, and none of this is going to stick in your heads. I will not waste your time. I am Sanip Kur. I am in charge. Does everybody understand? Seeing a sea of nods, Garnet, roll an insight check for me.
Oh, first good roll.
Nice.
Okay.
The turquoise-eyed kid on your left is a little bit more somber and respectful right now than she has been during the rest of the speeches, just making weird faces at everybody. She's kind of paying attention here and even gave a nod, which is the first time that she's gone along with anything that was supposed to happen during today's opening.
I look over and probably wouldn't feel good initiating conversation during this speech, so I just maybe notice and keep trying to listen to Sanip.
All right. Sanip Kur then starts reading off through the various groups of shushers. And after each group, she says, "The Grotto." And that group walks off, led by the shushers, who apparently know what that means. "The Grove." That group walks off in a different direction, towards a ramp suspended by apparently nothing that spirals up away from the amphitheater. "The Cove." That group starts going down a spiraling staircase that leads away from this area. "The Grand Hall." And people are just dispatched in their groups of 20. So, you've already messed with the plot because Squeaky was supposed to end up where you folks are going, and now he's running off with somebody else. So,
Well, there's always a chance that whoever he went to help out was just like, I've got 20 people. What the fuck are you doing here?
At least initially, he's either going to be lost in the system with his paperwork, or he's going to accidentally get assigned somewhere else. I like it when people's choices actually have consequences. I'm a fan. All right.
Unintended consequence.
And then when your group is up, "The Grove." And your shusher stands up and says, "All right, this way, children. Come along, come along." The shushers have sticks, but they are not using them to, like... They seem to just be kind of holding onto them and using them to signal each other.
Like lollipop ladies?
Yeah, precisely. God, it takes me back to my days working at Disneyland. "Please move all the way through the walkway, folks. All the way through the walkway. Thank you." And they gather the four of you together and start leading you up a staircase that rises out from the amphitheater towards the west, what you have to assume is the west. And it's not supported by anything, but it does have very high guardrails designed to be child-proof.
I suppose we're spending a little bit more time together then.
Why are we the Grove? That sounds weird.
Someone got to go to the Grand Hall. I want to go to the Grand Hall.
Does sound much nicer than here. At least we can agree on something.
Oh, are we going to go to her garden? Is that the Grove? Is it
Well,
still on fire?
Let's not let that one near any gardens or fires.
I'm sure
I'll
Auntie
try
Mother will
not
be
to.
very happy to visit us.
All right, well, Squeaky's gone, so Squeaky and neither Squeaky nor Alozern can inform you what any of this means. So, are our heroes deciding to say, screw the Grove, we're heading out of here and trying to sneak past the shushers? What would you like to do?
There's Squeaky.
He's off somewhere complaining about the fact that he's not on the list.
Squeaky. Oh, we've put Squeaky in the story in the form of Necros dog. On Athalor's count, he's too well behaved to like he's a clown, but he isn't gonna fuck with it on the first day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The girl with the turquoise eyes has picked up on this, and she says, I bet the hall's great. I bet they have better food. I bet they have better beds. Do you want to sleep outside? I bet the Grove sounds like a forest, and they're going to make us sleep outside and eat bark and tree bugs.
How believable does this sound?
Roll an insight check, please.
Okay.
Do we all do
Just
so?
wanna-
Yeah, anybody who thinks that she is suspicious, go ahead and roll an insight check. All right. Lemon Kiwi got a 6, Alexander got a 5, Leg Day got an 18. Is Arianna focusing? Yep, and Arianna got a natural 20.
Ooh, baby.
That's how we do it.
No one's
Yeah.
eating bark.
No one's eating bark.
And I roll that roll secretly because you don't know whether she's lying or not, but I rolled a natural 1.
Oh.
So, she's not in the slightest bit believable. Leg Day, you can see her barely containing like a snicker as she's saying this. And Arianna, because you got a natural 20 and she got a natural 1, you can immediately see she has no idea what any of these things mean. She just thinks that sneaking away sounds like fun. And she's trying to put everybody up to doing it.
Well, you can sneak away. I don't think that I'm going to.
We'll all be
think that
rooting
the Grove
for
is
you.
gonna be nice, but you have fun.
We'll be here watching, and you're gonna do great.
Are you? But she said we could sleep outside. I really didn't sign up for these kind of accommodations.
I don't think that's true, Garnet. Also, I don't think we introduced ourselves yet. I'm
hello.
Arianna.
I'm Garnet, and I put out my hand to shake.
All right. She'll offer, like, she does one hand for each of you and crosses them. Sventisco.
Wait, are we still walking in formation like we were sitting?
Yeah.
So Kron and I are both getting reached across it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. She's very tall. She's not shy about just... And are you sure? Because I bet we need all of us if we're going to outsmart these shushers over here.
I'm sure. I want to see what the Grove is like, and I promise I won't set it on fire.
I should hope so. Although I don't think we'll be sleeping outside. My father would be furious.
Although if you did set it on fire, then maybe we would get moved to the Grand Hall.
So there's always an option.
Yeah,
Oh.
just burn it all down.
Hmm.
You might get in trouble at that point if you do that, though. So
Don't
It's
worry,
her
we'll
fault.
just
It would
blame
be
you.
her fault.
Gonna try not to, Alexander.
yeah, just don't want to, do something that bad on your first day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Sventisco, seeing that the mutiny has failed, and especially rolls her eyes at Alexander's last comment and just kind of fine goes along with everybody. Anything else as you walk past the statues, leave the amphitheater, and join a stream of other red-robed young ones moving your way up?
question. Where
Yes.
are name test Alexander's burn marks?
They would be, I mean, kind of visible wherever like his robes aren't covering. Honestly, like there might be some that extend up to like maybe like his cheeks or something. You'd probably see him in his hands if he like gestures when he's talking or something like that. You'd see like faded kind of burn marks.
Okay, I probably like, as we're walking, like, may I? And I kind of extend a hand to Alexander.
May you what?
And maybe
Sorry?
just take his hand gently and use like my hand. There's like a symbol on my hand that I don't know if you'd
Oh,
recognize.
you reading his palms?
I'll
So
just like ignore.
anybody who's close enough to see what is definitely not palm reading would see on the back of Garnet's hand a birthmark. And I would allow a perception check to make out the shape. It's definitely a distinctive shape. And I'll let Alexander have this one for free because he's in immediate close contact. But Athalor and Arianna, give me perception checks, please.
Right. Athalor is nearsighted.
All right.
So stupid.
Athalor,
Actually, if you think about how these guys are, they are literally reaching in front of Athalor's face. Like,
you just got the wrong side of the hand in his face,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's not the top of her hand; it's the.
I'll just turn my back.
Arianna, you were able to get a good look at the birthmark. It looks like a bird of some kind with its wings held over its head and a circle or maybe the sun in between its wings. You don't have religion proficiency, right?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, and your upbringing, you wouldn't really have learned stories about this that would apply, so this is going to be unfamiliar to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As she grabs your hand, Alexander, I assume that you let her take your hand.
Yeah, at first Alexander would kind of like flinch away, but it seems like she's very like wants to do this. Like
I'm very
sure, kind of
gentle.
hesitantly. Yeah, it's
Mm.
what are you?
I guess the birthmark would kind of glow as well, this looks like it hurts, and there's a lot of important work that you must do with these hands. So, and I cast healing hands to kind of help the burn initially on his hands.
All right.
To see if that helps.
A warmth, like standing close to a fire, passes through your skin and your bones, Alexander. Reassuring, somewhat exciting, hopeful. You've felt this light before. You felt this light once before. You felt it in the dream when the messenger brought you through a nightmarish escape. There was this comforting light that surged within you. This feels like the exact same light. And as it passes through your body, a cold, chill voice.
Little good. The outer scars hide. The inert ones remain.
Only you hear this. But the damage does start to like retreat, and the chemical burns and such that they hurt, but they weren't like permanent. They were cosmetic and they caused you pain, but you weren't like down health. They actually start to heal.
Yeah. There's a moment where Alex is kind of very like entranced by this, and then looks very like taken aback for a brief moment, but then focuses again and says, "What, you can do magic already?"
Oh, it's nothing. Just something I learned. I hope that's better. It sounds like I missed a few, but we can fix that later.
That was great. Thank you.
No problem. I'm Garnet. We'll have to study together one day.
Yeah, Alex, I'm sure I can learn a lot from you, I guess, if you can do this already. That's amazing.
And then
oh, well, look
I
at this,
continue
leaving a
walking.
good review.
Anything from Athalor or Arianna before we continue up the staircase, which is now completely enclosed to ensure that no kids can throw themselves off into the floating abyss on either side?
Athalor now uncomfortably stares at the healed hand.
Mm-hmm.
And Arianna is just kind of amazed and realizes at this point that I feel like her and Garnet would get along really, really well, especially just given that we already have some magical ability. And Arianna doesn't necessarily share this yet with the entire group of people, but she takes that mental note that she and Garnet would get along very well.
Awesome. The staircase continues to rise, and as you go higher and higher, the stone is obscuring most of your kids. You can't see very high, but just over the lip, you occasionally see far below is a beach. Just a floating beach with a body of water suspended in the air. White sands, rocks piled up on top of each other, and a series of structures along the beach. And you can see a group of children in red. You can see so clearly in here. The air is rarefied or something. And you can see that is probably the cove where some of the kids are being led.
Do these places denote the kind of magic we'll be learning?
Well, you got rid of Squeaky, so good question.
Will they get a
That question
beach?
was kind of addressed to the group at large.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what the Grove is gonna be like. 'Cause they get a beach. Grand Hall gets something fancy, probably. Nice beds. I hope we get something good.
I feel like it's gonna be
maybe-
great.
Maybe we'll have tree houses.
It'd be a little weird if it was very different, right? So it'll probably be good.
The taller girl, Sventisko, she says, Sanabkur is a green dragonborn. They have green dragons in the forest. They lay enchantments on anybody who walks into their lands, and they love to eat elves. It's their favorite taste.
Look at
Oh,
Arianna.
scroll.
Is she an invisible elf?
No,
wait,
she appears to be human.
Oh, okay.
Athalor is very visibly an elf. and
Oh, okay. Then I
Athalor
look
an
at
elf.
Athalor.
Mm.
Oh, good luck.
I'll be walking in the middle then.
As you continue to go higher, you can see another pathway leading off on the left-hand side, and it's going down into this whole series of floating rocks all tethered together. And atop one of them are a series of towers rising up and a massive staircase that descends into this huge rock, the grotto, a cave.
Mm.
Ooh, they have to live in a cave. Ugh.
That's
Yeah.
not us.
Sucks
Grove
to
already
suck.
sounds great.
You pass a landing. It's not on the staircase that you're on. It's sort of like probably 500 feet away, but another landing where it levels off and it goes into a massive structure with great wooden pillars inlaid with gold, stone arches, big open windows, white banners drifting from every side, almost obscuring it. Clearly a great hall of some kind, a vast, open, sunny structure. And there's another stream of classmates going into there.
Is Squeaky there? Would we recognize him?
Roll a perception check.
P perception.
13. You can see Squeaky, like a figure probably above about the right height, who is not entering, who's standing there holding, like clutching his own hair and fretting visibly like a child would fret as a black-robed shusher looks at a tablet, looks at Squeaky, looks back at the tablet, waves over for another shusher who comes over and looks at the tablet as they're trying to work something out.
Oh man. I almost feel bad for him. He's probably trying to shush them now. Lord Shusher. He never stopped.
Who shushes the shushers? All right. And at last, yours continues to rise higher and higher, and your legs are starting to get a little bit tired. And the smell in the air changes. It takes on this earthy tone. And as you rise, the it goes from just being this stone staircase floating and suspended in virtually nothing. It starts to widen out, and you can see trees. And there's a mass of earth that you're walking towards, and there's trees and all sorts of shrubbery around the outside. The entire outskirts of this floating mote of earth are almost completely obscured by verdant foliage. And you can hear birds, and you can hear the leaves starting to rustle in the gentle wind as it looks like you're walking up into a forest. Some of you have never seen a forest in your life. I would wager that Alexander and Garnet have never seen a full-fledged forest. You've seen oases. Actually, no. Alexander hasn't even seen those. Garnet has seen oases in the desert. Arianna would be the most familiar. Athalor's refuge was a lot more urban and built up, but they did have a lot of trees and greenery. But this just appears to be a completely wild, overgrown forest floating several thousand feet in the air.
Maybe they brought you on as a gardener, Arianna.
I could see that. That was actually what I used to do back at home. That was my passion.
I think they might have you working overtime here.
I don't think I'd mind that, really.
All right. They lead you in. At last, the staircase meets the earth moat, and you pass through a vast arch of trees that have grown together and a curtain of leaves that drifts down. Very reminiscent of the place that you grew up, Arianna, and the entrance to that place. And it parts magically before you as you walk up, and the stone gives way to soft grass beneath your feet. There are golden streaks of light breaking through the canopy down into a wide meadow. It's almost as if this place is indoors, but the walls themselves are just thick tree coverage. It's a large, vast, open space. You pass through a few more scattered trees and such. The shushers now on either side, keeping everybody clearly in line. No wandering off. No going off into the area. You can see some flashes of color as birds flitter from tree to tree over on the right. Eyes of small furry creatures are watching you somewhere on the left. And the shushers know that these are very distracting, and these are children, so they don't even want you looking at them. Anybody who starts gawking, they say, hey, eyes forward. How is the party? Is everybody sort of eyes forward? What particular sensory input is catching everyone's attention?
At the beginning, Alex is definitely just like, wow, like, what is all of this? Like, looking everywhere. And after the eyes forward comment, like, tries his best to, but it's still like looking up and stuff. And it's like forward, but still up.
All right. You can just see, again, trees that are probably a few hundred feet tall, just absolute massive oaks rising up. And even when the grounds near you are fairly clear, the branches of the big ancient trees on either side reach forward to mostly obscure the sky, just little bits and pieces knifing through. What is Athalor paying attention to?
Athalor is trying his best not to make it seem obvious, but his step is very much in lock with the person in front of him now, still worried about those old elf-eating dragons that were previously mentioned.
All right. You are in... No, you're not in front of the pack. Actually, Sventisco is in...
second after Garnet. It depends on if we went from like left to right or right to left.
Yeah, you would have gone from
second or third.
From left to right. So you're like third in line. All right. So you're matching Garnet's pace, I think. Yeah, you're matching Garnet's pace. How is Garnet handling all of this sensory overload?
Is there anything like in reach while we're walking, like plant stuff or?
Not easily. This appears to be a fairly well-beaten path, but if you sort of stepped off for just a moment, you might be able to grab something. There's some of these beautiful violet flowers just, off on the side with this intoxicating smell.
I'm probably weighing my options to go and check it out. I probably try to resist the urge, but maybe if I see the main director person look off, I might try to quickly go and grab one of the flowers.
Okay, roll a sleight of hand check. 6.
I can't roll.
All right, you reach off, and at that exact moment, the head shusher is turning around towards you.
I stand back in line.
All right, roll a
Like-
roll a stealth check.
Oh, something has to happen. Come on.
An even 10.
Roll above a 10.
Can I roll a perception from standing behind her?
Perception?
Yeah, just to see if she did it, or like, would Athalor just notice because like right in front of him?
Well, you would notice because your passive her roll, her original low, is below your passive perception, so you would have
Okay.
automatically noticed this happening. All of you would automatically notice this happening and would be able to react as you please.
Well, I'd say you nailed that.
Shush. And I turn around and shush. Like,
Alex wants to take note of it and kind of realizing that she failed in this, try to do it on his own, wait for an opportune moment, or like the shusher person like looked back and then you know, went back in line, but as soon as they turned back around, like utilize that moment to then like go try to grab whatever it is or similar thing that Garnet was grabbing.
You're trying to pick a violet flower that's just off the path. I'm going to have you roll a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
All right.
Aw.
A natural 1! A natural 1! He goes for it and he just beefs it and trips on his ill-fitting robes and just plop! Face plants in front of everybody.
Tries to just like get up, looks around as like quickly as possible, just like tries to get back in the line, just looks down.
All right, the shusher is now on their way back through the line. Oi!
Wow, God, it certainly could have gone worse. Example A.
Are you okay, Alex?
Nods, looks up, or doesn't even look up, just still looking down, just says sorry.
The shusher, a middle-aged human, glowers at the lot of you, looking for guilty faces. Alexander, you said you just apologized, right?
Yeah, just like got back in line as quick as possible, just scrambled back in line, just looking down, just like called out sorry, and that was it.
Sorry.
In your head, Athalor,
This flower, do you desire it?
I think we'll have plenty of time later.
Understood.
does Arianna do anything in response as the shusher comes down and just starts looking at all of you with an equally suspicious glower?
Arianna doesn't do anything yet, but she has concocted a small plan in the back of her head. You know, especially knowing what she's capable of doing in terms of plant growth and things like that. She's recognizing there might be an opportunity at some point to, in line, procure these flowers for her friends.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Alexander is blatantly apologizing. Garnet, how are you trying to like portray yourself? Are you trying to get away with this? Are you looking sheepish? What's the play here?
I'm avoiding eye contact by just like maybe patting down Alexander's robes from the dirt. He probably fell in just like and just making sure like getting all the dirt off and just keep doing that until the person leaves. Just
all right.
Can Athalor kind of like interject towards Vashusha?
Absolutely.
I don't think all of us are particularly familiar with this kind of terrain, Master. Maybe a little bit slower?
A long-suffering glance passes over. Roll persuasion check for me, Athalor.
P. Where does it go in the alphabet? Now I know.
A 10. From your childlike ways, you probably assumed that what you just said worked, when in reality, you know, this is just, kids. All right. Now shaking the stick, the shusher says, all right, straight line, don't touch anything. Just keep it together till we get to your lodgings, all right? Not much further.
A couple seconds later, Alex taps Athalor's shoulder and just whispers, "Thank you."
Don't worry, you're going to have to ask Garnet for a second heal later. That's gonna be embarrassing.
Did I hear that?
Athalor gets to decide
Athalor
if
is not a master of stealth.
That's a yes. So whenever something like this happens, by the way, if you're like, did I notice that? Did I hear that? It's going to work like this. First off, the person, Athalor in this case, can just decide yes, or can say, I was trying to keep it hidden, in which case we'll do a skill check. But the perpetrator always gets to the first call.
All right. Well,
Alex just like blushes
no
at
attempt
this.
still.
I stick my tongue out at Athalor and maybe lean over to Arianna and what kind of flower was that? I don't think I've read about that. I've never seen that before. It smells nice.
So she can read.
It's so stupid.
Would Arianna at this point know what that flower is called? And would she be able to conjure one?
Roll a nature check. A 15. Yes, it was sort of like this big puffball looking flower. It's I know the official name. I'm wondering if there's like an older name.
Violet puffball?
It's yeah, you know what? We're going to call it a violet puffball for the time being.
That sounds like a name a kid would use.
I feel like Arianna just rattles off the official beautiful elven name, but then is like, but I call it a violet puffball.
Yeah, I feel like she would do that too. And so
Mhm.
in line, we're walking at this point, and I say to Garnet, would you like one?
Have one? Like, we both failed at getting that one.
I'll make it for you.
You can make flowers? I'm like,
I go ahead
mind blown.
and start, doing my magic in my hands, and I warm them up a little bit. I'm ready to go, crack the fingers, and I as I'm walking forward, hopefully I am not tripping over my own 2 feet or anything like that, but I'm heavily focused on making sure that I can conjure up this flower.
All right, are you going
Athalor's
to
gonna lean back to Alexander? Look out, she's gonna blow.
Very startled. Looks
These are
It's not
children. like-
fired. There's no fire in this one.
tries to like walk a little bit more like quickly for a second for like processes what Ariana's doing. Just like, oh, okay.
Arianna, are you trying to have this ready on the walk or once you get there?
Once I get there.
All right. You arrive at what looks for all intents and purposes to be a small village or camp. And by camp, I don't mean tents. I mean like buildings, wooden structures, all gathered around a circle. There's a low hedge of trees around the outside, a well in the middle. The structures themselves are made not of logs, but of living trees, still growing out from the earth below. They're large. There's all sorts of different ones, but the shushers lead you into the biggest one of all that lies just beyond the well. It's got beautiful open windows. The windows are framed with vines and they are adorned with flowers that are growing out of it. So it's got this whole color palette. Lots of reds and purples and yellows all around.
Would this kind of structure be familiar in terms of like being reminiscent of like any wooded elf structures?
Yeah, this is much more in line with the Huldra, the Dusk Elves, who live in the woods, rather than the Dawn Elves, who build their refuges. But it is something that Athalor would be familiar with.
Should I roll a check for like history or something?
Yeah, roll a history check. Yeah, this is absolutely in line with the summer court of elves, actually, of the Huldra.
I think I know what these are based off of. This could have been a summer court for elves. They're particularly common over there. They love to live in trees like these. Brings them closer to their own magics, he says, vaguely bullshitting.
As you all file in, you can see that this big lodge that you're standing in, it's got rows and rows and rows of bunks. This is just like a dormitory, essentially. It's got a few different divided rooms, but the ground itself, there is no floor. It's just grass. It's soft, it feels nice. It's not really leaving any dirt on your feet. But if you rolled out
Are they
of
all
bed
barefoot?
here, you are not barefoot unless you choose to be.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, should have specified that. But you're all gathered in together, and shortly thereafter, as everyone's sort of assigned to their bunks, and the 5 of you, including your companion, I'll say, Sventisco, the 5 of you are all in a line. And Alexander, there's a brief confusion over your bed. Roll a perception check.
Sure.
Natural 1.
Oh.
All right. There's some shushers arguing or something, and you get this cold chill that flows through your veins as you worry once again about being found out, but you have no idea what they're talking about. They actually name dropped Squeaky's name, but it's going to go unknown for a little bit longer. As everyone's gathered and you're assigned all of your bunks and you've got a little storage chest that you can use, and there's a fresh spring water basin next to each of your beds and so on and so forth. And it's just a whole bunch of you all living. That group of 20 that you were brought in, each dorm room essentially is an open room with 20 beds in it, almost barracks style. And then there's some small common areas off to the side, washrooms, eating areas, but a lot of the living here is done out in the open, outside of the building, in this sort of grassy meadow between all the different structures. And as you're each gathered to your beds, a Huldra, dusk elf woman, walks down from the upper level of this structure. Her hair is adorned with roses in a few different colors. Again, reds, lots of reds, yellows, purples. She's bearing a natural staff that appears to have been polished through the years. It almost seems charred, and the top of it has been split open. There's no visible rune markings on it whatsoever. She gathers everyone together and very calmly says, "Welcome to your first year at Ioth Academy. You will be dwelling here in the Grove. All of you have something in common. A connection to life. A connection to the fire of life that kindles within all of us. It has its spark in each and every one of you. And in your time here, you're going to learn to nurture it, to kindle it, to let it burn the way you choose to. But I have not walked the earth these many centuries without learning what it is that truly, truly brings all of you here. Perhaps you thought it was love of magic. Perhaps it was a better life from your families. But really, right about now, what you're all thinking about is how long it's been since you've eaten. So let's take care of that first."
Oh my god, Arianna at this point lights up. She didn't realize how hungry she was, and of course being so well fed by the Alfar, she's like, "Oh my god, this food's gonna be amazing, right?"
Sventisco says in her mouth, "Here come the bugs." And we're going to leave it there as we go to a 5-minute break. You get a chance to have a snack of your own. We'll be back in a few minutes, folks.